Evening, everybody, and welcome to the ANZCAR AbruzzI Cup here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway here on SimShed Broadcasting. Joining me tonight is Matt. How are you going, Matt?
Carl, excited, mate. After last week's performance at Daytona, I'm looking forward to some more action tonight at Las Vegas. I'm looking forward to sitting back, and hopefully those watching are prepared to watch what should be a pretty entertaining battle tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big one tonight. We've got a lot of big players in here tonight. We've got a very big field as well. We've actually had to open up a second server for qualifying, so not everybody's going to get into the race. So there's going to be a few people that are going to be a little bit unhappy about that, I'm very sure. But we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, so the top 20 points from last week get guaranteed entry into the race. So if they weren't in the top 20 last week, they're battling for a pretty small amount of spots tonight. So qualifying is ultra important.
Yes, qualifying is definitely important, and usually on sort of speedways, it's not the utmost importance, but here it definitely is. It's it's do or die, and we got Matt Danson out there on the track at the moment, just going round, and of course he's going to want to get in this session. He wasn't here for Daytona, and defending champion this season as well. So Danson's going to really want to try and get into this race because he wants to defend his title for sure.
Yeah, he'll be one to keep an eye on in the following session. A big name. If he used to miss out tonight, that's 2 races without points. So Danson will be keeping an eye on during this qualifying session for sure.
Yeah, he's going round now, and we'll see how this goes. Danson usually likes to try and start a bit further back in the actual in race stance. He doesn't like starting from the front. He likes giving himself a little bit of a challenge, sort of starting a little bit further back. He's done his first lap now. Obviously, the first lap's a bit of a slower lap. You're going to get your best lap on that second one here at Las Vegas, and we'll see where he comes once he comes around for this one. At the moment, we've got Jason Martin, I think, on the front row with Riley Curtis up there. Great job for Riley Curtis. And Matt Danson crosses the line and goes first. Matt Danson straight up there with a 30.824. Just a tiny bit there from between himself and Martin, but he's got himself in there.
Yeah, terrific lap by Danson. We'll see if that gets him in tonight's race. But I mean, to be first already, fastest out of everybody with a 30.824 is a very good sign that we're going to see a pretty big name entered into this race tonight.
Yeah, it should be good. Michael Latterer is just going out on track at the moment. It looks like Matthew Clewett's just waiting for possibly a little bit of better sunshine, a cloud to move or something like that. So he might get a little bit of extra speed. But Latterer's out on that lap now as well in the 57. And Las Vegas can be a bit of a tricky track sometimes.
It can. Tyres, obviously, especially with the new tyres and iRacing, always pose a bit of an issue. And again, a bit like last week in Daytona, I think the question will be asked of the drivers as to when do they take 2 tyres as opposed to 4 to get track position. So as this race wears on, especially in the business end of this race, we'll have to keep a close eye on who takes the punt and goes for those 2 tyres, or who wants the 4 and the extra grip. 4 tyres around this track does definitely give you a little bit of an advantage. So that's going to be a gamble some drivers will take, and we'll watch that with interest.
Yeah, look, this is definitely a tyre-focused race. Everybody's going to be generally you're going to be looking at about 55, 60 laps on fuel, but once you get to lap 30, the tyres drop off a cliff. You can run pretty much flat out until lap 30, and then all of a sudden you've got nothing, and you're just going to run wide into the wall. So it looks like qualifying is pretty much wrapping up here. We've got Raymond Jaeger out there now. Clut's still sat in the pit lane, so Jaeger is the only other car out on track at the moment. He's trying to get in there. Latterer had a bit of a where is he?
It wasn't great.
Managed to get up. I think he had a bit of a problem, but he has managed to. Yeah, he didn't do too well, so I think he made a bit of a mistake. So how will Jaeger do here? Jaeger, of course, always manages to get some decent positions. He's very good in that mid pack. The number 2 tends to run well. So Jaeger, I think, will be our last of the qualifiers we're going to see tonight. Getting a good run around the track, and of course, as I say, second lap is going to be the important one for him.
Got a Braden Boulos out there with the number 1 on his car. It's pretty brave call there to have the number 1 there as he comes around the back straight of Vegas. We'll see how he goes.
Well, Braden Boulos is a very fast driver. He has got wins in the past in the Cup Series. He doesn't always turn up. I think he's actually one of our sort of drivers from the States, if I remember correctly. And it looks like he's going to want to try and get in there. I've got a feeling it might have been Boulos that won last year here at Las Vegas in the Cup race. Just trying to remember off the top of my head. Unfortunately, these seasons do go quite long sometimes. Jaeger does get a qualifying lap in there, but quite far down the grid, so not the best one for him. How will Boulos do here? And he is cutting it very fine as he goes across the line, and he jumps up to second place. So Braden Boulos gets up there. So that's pretty much qualifying over. So what we'll do is we'll be jumping over to our race session. Oh, we've got Jonathan Hancock actually just coming out. He's coming out for his lap. And also Matthew Cluett as well. So we've got a couple of last ditch attempts here, trying to get that qualifying lap in at the very end, hoping that the clouds will move over. They'll get a little bit of change in track temperatures, things like that. It's just a little bit of a risk game here, and you know that's the thing at Las Vegas. Sometimes you have to make that gamble. So we'll just wait for them to do their second laps across. Hancock's coming around, so we'll see how he does here. Of course, Hancock's relatively new to oval racing as well, so if he can get through, he'll be very happy, I'm sure. And we'll see where he gets to. He crosses the line, and he jumps up to 40th, so a little bit further down, not where he would have wanted to be there, unfortunately. Matthew Cluett as well has got to. He's got up to 21st, so Cluett has actually got through there. Good job for Cluett there, taking that last-minute gamble, gets himself through. So I think that's everybody now, and we will jump to the race session. But we've got Paul Daniel actually, last one, I think. As I say, last person, and then all of a sudden somebody else is just out there. But how will Paul Daniel do? And session is done, and don't think he crossed the line in time, so I think he's done. Yeah, he's slowing down. So we'll jump to the race session now. And while we do that, we'll jump to the action from the Daytona 500. But wow, what else is going to happen as we come on to
one to go.
One to go. The white flag is out, and it is
Hybrid Racing Simulations, one to go.
Yes, absolutely. Hybrid Racing Simulation, white flag is out. 1 lap to go. Who's going to win this race? It's looking good for Dave Douglas right now. Who would have thought that earlier in the race? But Joshua Carroll-Walden's getting a good bit of push right now. He's getting a little bit of side draft. He's really getting the push from Hardigan. Pearson's engine is blown. Pearson's engine is blown. This is going to be great for Joshua Carroll-Walden. He's got somebody pushing him, helping him out. And that's left Dave Douglas with no partner. This could be Joshua Carroll-Walden's race to win.
He's won it, surely.
I'm not going to say anything, but this is looking great for JCW right here. Oh, my word. And JCW, Dave Douglas is getting a little bit of a pull. Will he be able to do it? I don't think so. JCW crossed the line, and it's a win for Joshua Carroll-Walden. Oh, my word.
Unbelievable.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the highlights there. If you did miss the Daytona 500 on Saturday, what a race you missed. It was a pretty epic race there, and it got a little bit crazy at the end there, didn't it?
We were just talking about it off air. It was such an amazing race for what's going to be a pretty wild and dramatic season, I think, and no better place than Vegas tonight to renew the rivalry between some of these drivers. So those of you watching at home, prepared to watch some action. Let's just put it that way tonight.
Yes, and it's not just tonight we've got action, of course. We have got some more action coming up for you guys. So we have our races upcoming as well in the tab that I was looking at, which is always the way it goes.
Well, every Thursday night we've got ANZCAR, so
that's it. We're running the whole season this year. So of course we've got coming up next Thursday, but past that as well, we have the ESA Endurance Championship at Imola for the 6 hours, and that's multi-class racing, and that's on Sunday the 8th of March. So stay tuned to SimShed Broadcasting for that one, because that's going to be a really good race, some really good racing there. Of course, Thursday the 27th of February, we're at Auto Club, and then the 5th of March, Thursday the 5th of March, we're at Phoenix for the Cup Series. And then, of course, we have the Jinx Super 2 V8 Series starting up on Tuesday the 10th of March. And to talk to us a little bit about that, we have JP with us.
How you going there, guys?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you, JP. So yes, the Jinx Super 2 V8 Series, it's starting up, and it looks like you've got a bit of a bumper feel for it.
Yeah, look, it's been a cracker response that we've had for the Jinx Super 2 Series. We're going to be kicking off week 1 in season 2 for iRacing. A few little surprises are going to be thrown in there. Obviously, there's going to be qualifying, live race control. We're currently looking at the prospect of having live safety car as well. There are going to be some very, very cool prizes. We'll be making an announcement about that in the next few days. So, yeah, looking forward to some exciting racing in the Jinx Super 2 V8 series.
Yeah, it should be a really interesting series, and of course it's set out to help some drivers get more experienced in the V8 cars, of course.
Yeah, it's aimed primarily at novice and intermediate drivers. We have some experienced drivers that are with us that are going to help coach some of the novice drivers. We've got Virtual Motorsport Mentor that are going to be coming in with us to help coach drivers if they want coaching. Like I said, some experienced drivers to help answer questions. It should be a great series, especially it should be really good for those that are interested in improving their racecraft in the V8s.
And we look forward to seeing that as it all starts. But Well, before that starts, we've got this race to go here at Las Vegas, and we're going to start gridding up very shortly. So I'll say goodbye for now, JP, and we'll send him back to the camera slavery where he will be working, producing the show, and we'll start getting the grid set up for us. So up front in on the first row we have Matt Danson with Jason Martin. Actually have checking that one. Waiting for that to refresh because we're missing somebody there. So I'll just wait for that to finish working itself out for a moment because it's always fun with this kind of thing. It just has those lovely issues.
Martin on the front row there with Danson on the outside for Mitch Motorsports.
Yeah, it looks like we've quick look down the field. It looks like we may have lost Braden Boulos, who actually got up there on the front row. So yeah, Braden Boulos might not be in the race, unfortunately. So front row, Matt Danson with Jason Martin. Row 2, Riley Curtis, great qualifying for him with Brett Gerlitz. Third row, Edward Foster with Bradley Allison. Again, a great qualifying performance for Allison. Let's see how he can do in this race. Fourth row, Jake Maloney with Michael Skurlock. Fifth row, we got Danny G with Chris Purnell. Sixth row, Mirko Dortnack with Dave Douglas. Seventh, Jason Hartigan with Kai Sloggett. Eighth, Norman Clark with James Roby. Ninth, we've got Scott Butler and Ayrton Smith. 10th, we have Hamish Gallagher with Matthew Cluett. 11th, we've got Josh Micklemore and Simon Mazzomo. 12th, we have Stephen Williams with Daniel Stevens. 13th, Phil Otto and Joshua Carroll Walden. 14th, Ryan Jones with Bradley Kemp. 15th, Matt Danson with Damon Stockton. 16th, Brian Richmond with Dylan Davis. 16th, Paul Jackson and Michael Cracknell. 17th, Dave Douglas with Ryan DeCarth McCarthy. 18th, Devon Stove with Mick Wilson. 19th, Michael Latterer with Jono Hancock. 20th, Raymond Yeager with Matt Allison, and at the back we have Tristan Koch. So yeah, we've got a fair few cars running, 43 cars running tonight. It's going to be an interesting one.
Big field, Carl, big field.
We are green and we are go, and Danson gets a fantastic launch there. He is off like a whip hit there. Although he's just pulling in slightly. I'm not sure what's happening there. He's just pulling off the track slightly. I think he's actually just dropping back a little bit. And that's just helped Riley Curtis get up to the front with Jason Martin. What I imagine Matt Danson doing, and he's just jumping to the back of the field just so he can have some fun. I'm just going to keep an eye on him just in case. But I think he's just dropping back to get on the back of the pack and then work his way up there, because we've seen this in the past with Danson. He does like to try and climb up the pack. So we've got Jason Martin leading now with Riley Curtis and Edward Foster up there. Jake Maloney's making way up there as well. Good start for them.
Yeah, and we've got the rivalry from last week. Mitch Motorsports, a big team in our ANZCAR field this season, leading the way. And Jason Martin actually led the majority of the Daytona 500 last week, and he's prepared to lead as we come across the line for the second lap of this race. So Jason Martin, a bit unlucky last week, leading all the way and not getting the win. Let's see if he gets the win tonight from first position.
Yeah, look, Jason Martin had a real bad luck there, as well as Danny G. Really unfortunate for those guys. It was such a shame. They had a fantastic race, just dominated all race long, and unfortunately, a free-wide situation, racing incident, and these things happen on super speedways. But just behind him, he's got Jake Maloney now battling all over him. Jake Maloney, we've seen very fast. Sometimes does make a couple of little mistakes here and there, but he is extremely fast, but he's also extremely young. So, you know, he's got lots of room to learn in, and that's always a scary thing when you've got a fast driver like that that's young, is they can improve a lot more, and it's a scary thing to face sometimes.
Oh, for sure. And a really clean start, Carl. So the opening laps have been clean. The guy I want the folks at home to watch is the guy in third position, Michael Skurlock. I was watching him in qualifying, extremely fast car, and he's putting pressure on the leader already. But this is a guy who I believe won last night or the night before around the same track in the Illusion car. So Michael Skurlock, someone to look out for.
Yeah, look, Skurlock is very good here. Last year I think he was second. No, sorry, he was third with Chris Purnell, his teammate, in fourth place. Those guys were running up the front pretty much all race long. They're very strong here. Illusion have really come out in strength this year as well. They're really working hard as we go 3 wide, a little bit further back in the pack. With Riley Curtis just running out wide. Will he tap the wall? He manages to hold it. Good job for Riley Curtis. This early stage on this track, the car is quite sticky. You can run that high line. The car's actually, the tyres here love the track for about 30 laps, and then once you hit lap 30, it's almost like a cliff, and you just have no grip whatsoever. So it's going to be a tyre-dependent race, this one. Fuel, you're going to get to about 55 and 60, but tyres, they really do drop off the cliff at around about lap 30.
And I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. We're seeing basically the entire field very happy to just sit and wait at this early stage. No one looks to be too aggressive at the moment, which is a smart move. Obviously, still 120 odd laps remaining, so sitting in there, everyone making sure that they're not crashing out at this early stage.
Yeah, a lot of laps to go still, but when we say they're sitting back there are guys running 3, almost 4 wide in the pack. So, you know, the thing is, there's so much grip with these cars on this track now, with this new tyre package, with the new aero. As Jake Ryan is looking to get a good run here, he just goes a little bit wide, goes a little bit high, and just does lose a little bit. But these cars are so grippy around this track, it's almost like you can't make a mistake with this car until you hit about lap 30. I was doing some testing to see what times we had. Jake Maloney just getting a little bit unbalanced as he was coming through the corner there. But I was doing some runs just for testing and seeing what we were going to look at for the race. And yeah, the car just sticks perfectly to the track for those 30 laps. And then once you get to lap 30, it's almost like a switch is clicked and you just go, you just start losing pace, hand over fist, and then all of a sudden the front does not want to turn anymore. And you end up just having to lift constantly or rub the wall. It gets very tricky. But you can run the high or low line here with the tyres as they're nice and sticky.
Just having a look a little bit back in the pack, there is quite a lot of shuffling, some close incidents. People really relying on their spotter, which can cause some issues in iRacing when you are given the clear signal. Sometimes it isn't quite clear. Seeing some guys making some pretty big moves left and right and relying on that iRacing spotter, or a crew chief spotter per se, which is quite entertaining to watch.
Yeah, some really good pack racing here, nice and close. Look, this is the kind of thing we love to see with stock cars and oval racing NASCAR. It's this really close racing. Nobody's pulling away. Last year at Vegas, of course, Matt Danson, he did just pull away from the field and get that win. It was a very dominant drive from him. But somebody else that was very strong here and has been strong here for the last couple of years is Mr. Joshua Carroll Walden, of course, the winner of the Daytona 500. He's had 2 second places here last year in the All-Star race and in the Cup race. So I think he's going to be pretty hungry for possibly a victory here tonight. He's going to be working hard for that. Currently sitting down around about 18th at the moment. Just sort of holding his way back down there, but he has made up 8 positions already in this race. So he's working hard and he's going to start climbing that field.
Yeah, 18th didn't seem to phase him last week on Daytona. He seemed to come from nowhere. And those of you watching at home, that Abruzzi red and black JP Simshed car is going to be one to watch as he peels his way through the pack. Yeah,
he's definitely one to watch, but at the moment, the dominant factor in this race is the Mitch Motorsport car, the 21 of Jason Martin. And as is often the case with Jason, he is just leading the pack. He's not pushing too hard. He's just going to hold the car back a little bit. He's not really pushing too hard, not working the car as hard as he could do. And he's just just sitting there, just getting ready to go, and you know, just holding his position, not pushing too hard, not wearing out his tyres, not using up too much fuel. Obviously, it's a bit different from Daytona here. When you're out front, you don't use as much fuel as the rest of sorry, there's not that fuel margin that you'd get at Daytona. As you punch a big hole in the air, you sort of don't get as much of the fuel saving in the back of the pack. So leading isn't too detrimental. Brett Gerdes is actually having a good run in the middle finger racing car. He's just coming up very quickly now, just behind Martin and Maloney.
He's got a lot of pace, Gerets. He's got the ability to make a move on these guys. I've seen him lift out on multiple occasions. He's very happy sitting there in third and biding his time. As you said, not too much of a fuel saving, but you do get a little bit sitting in the draft there for Gerets. So he's racing beautifully and sitting really well there for middle finger racing.
And of course, if you can save that little bit of fuel, even though this is going to be a tyre-dependent race, these guys are probably going to I mean, they're probably going to try for a two-stopper, but it's just going to depend how well they can run on the tyres. But if you can save a little bit more fuel, if you've got a bit more fuel in the tank, it means you have to put a little bit less in the pit lane, which means you save a bit of time on pit road. So every millisecond counts here. But just coming up behind is now Michael Skurlock and Chris Purnell. The Illusion cars are now starting to move their way up. We've also got Mirko Dortnack as well coming up just behind. So Illusion are looking to get all of their cars up in the front at the moment. We've got Edward Foster sitting in that pack in around 6th place for the JP Simshed team. So all the big teams are up there at the moment. The sort of the teams with multiple men. We've got Middle Finger Racing, we've got JP Simshed, we've got Mitch Motorsport and Illusion there. So some really big teams up there, and yeah, it's good to see.
Well, that's the exciting thing about this season, Carls. You've got 4 or 5 massive Australian and New Zealand iRacing teams going toe to toe, and I can let the viewers at home know there was a little bit of words said to a couple of members from different teams after last week's Daytona 500. A lot of carnage, and you could just see a few teams setting up their drivers, making sure that they're safe. And as this race wears on, you're going to see the team factor come into play. Someone with like a Chris Purnell with the Illusion teammate behind him to give him a push could be very handy come the end of this race.
Yeah, that's it. Look, Illusion, they didn't have a great season last year. They, in their own words, they were a bit off the pace, and they did struggle last season quite a lot. They did manage to get a couple of wins, of course. Illusion's struggle is, most other teams' dream year, but they did struggle quite a lot last season. They weren't quite there on pace, and they did sort of lose a few races just because things weren't working out too great for them. But this year they're coming on strong, and they're really looking to push hard. So it's good to see, and it's what we want to see in this. And Illusion, of course, getting Dave Douglas in the team, who's working his way up as well. We can just see that pink and black car in the back, just in front of now Scott Butler and Riley Curtis. Dave Douglas is just climbing his way up there. 11th place at the moment. Mr. Top 10 Dave Douglas is going to start getting up there. But we are getting on in laps now, so we're starting to get to that point where the tyres are going to start to fade a little bit. They're not going to want to work as well. You're going to start losing a little bit of the front end grip. It just gets a little bit harder as you go on here.
That's when you can start to see people getting close to touching, having accidents, when people don't expect that grip level to drop and you're running side by side, only a couple of inches away from each other, and that car doesn't grip. That's when you can start to have some incidents and cautions start flowing. But everyone seems okay. A little bit of a group at the very back seems to have separated from the main group, but besides that, everyone's still running in this race without many incidents. The field's actually starting to get stretched out quite a bit, almost single file.
Yeah, everybody's starting to drop single file now. As this race is going on, these laps are coming down. Lap 22 now, and this is, as you're pushing hard and running out outside line constantly, you're just putting a little bit more wear on the tyre. You're just going a bit further around the track. You're doing a longer race than the guy on the inside line, of course, and that does make a bit of difference. And you're just starting to see these guys just falling back. They're just starting to get a little bit less grip. They're starting to struggle a little bit in some areas, and this is where you're going to see people start to slot into single file. But Jake Maloney is still working hard at the front. He's still trying to get that first place. He's not giving it up for sure.
Carl, who was our rookie last week who came third on the podium?
That was Mr. Bradley Arson, and he's currently in 14th position.
It looks like he's picked up a new sponsor, Barbecues Galore, after last week's race there, sitting pretty in 14th position. Someone to look out for. Good to see rookie drivers and new drivers doing so well, and he's going to be someone to look out for tonight. See if he can get another good result. And we know that in this series too, Rookie of the Year comes with some pretty good prizes. So someone to watch at home in the Barbecues Galore Maro.
Yeah, of course, getting the Rookie of the Year this season will help you out because you'll get Virtual Motorsport Mentor, and that's the Illusion guys, of course, running that. As Michael Skurlock just gets an amazing run there. He just come from nowhere, just like a greased whippet, coming up there, getting second place. He has really climbed on the back of Jason Martin. Looks like he was just holding back on his tyres, maybe, not pushing too hard, and then now he's starting to strike. Maloney's starting to struggle a little bit. He's just getting a little bit tail happy. Just watching him through those corners. But yeah, Virtual Motorsport Mentor this year is offering the Rookie of the Year some help. And look, getting some coaching from those guys is going to be very valuable.
Yeah, awesome pros.
Absolutely, and especially for somebody like Allison, who is definitely quick. There is no doubt about that. He did get some luck. He was 4 laps down at one point in the Daytona 500, but he climbed his way back up there, up into 3rd place. Absolutely brilliant result for him in his first big oval race as well. So he's definitely got the speed, and he's definitely somebody to look out for this season.
So back up the front, Skurlock has decided to have his try taking the lead over Jason Mudd on the outside line. He's got a quick car, Kyle, Michael Skurlock. As I said earlier, watching him in the qualifying session, just look, he's in a rocket. So he's having a bit of a sniff now to see what his car's like on the outside, I suppose, as opposed to Martin. And yeah, it's interesting to see how that pans out as we go along. And it looks like Maloney's prepared to get off that high line and sit in behind these guys.
Yeah, Maloney's dropped down to that low line now. The Trans-Tasman Racing entry of Jake Maloney there is just dropping down to that low line now. It looks like everybody's starting to think about it as Jason Martin starts to pull out a bit of a lead here. He's got a massive lead of about 0.2 of a second, which if you're watching the Daytona 500, that was pretty much the top 10. But he's got a decent lead here now. He's starting to just put that gap. We've seen this from Martin many times before. Just looking a bit further down the field, just sort of glancing down as we do. A bit further down. Sorry, where I've lost my grid sheet now, which is always fun. I love doing that when I'm talking about something. But Matt Danson is currently sitting down in 29th position. So he's working his way up the field now. He's starting to carve his way through the traffic, get his positions up. One of the things he's up to 27th now, sorry. He's made a couple of positions in as I speak. But Matt Danson's definitely somebody just to keep an eye on in the background because he is, well, he's got an ungodly talent of preserving tyres. He's able to almost add rubber onto a tyre as the race goes on and just keeps them just so clean through the race and tends to be able to keep the pace in them. So we'll see how that goes, and he might be coming back to play very shortly in this race.
Yeah, bizarre start by Danson. I mean, he was on the front row effectively and just peeled off there. And as you said, I mean, if he's gone to the back of the grid just to have a bit of fun and work his way through, I'd tip the cap. I mean, I think I would rather be sitting up here with Martin up the front and staying away from any potential carnage. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. Down to 27th. If he comes back to win this, I'm not gambling a carton of beer on you this week, Carl. But if he comes back to win this, I tell you what, I'd be surprised. But you know him better than me, and we'll see what he can do.
I was hoping I was going to get a carton of beer there because yeah, look, Danson is very happy. No, you see, you've learnt your lesson now. It's a shame, and I'm never going to forgive Dave Douglas. But Matt Danson tends to like to drop back at the beginning of the race. He tends to like to just not even qualify most of the time. He likes to carve his way through the field. He likes to have that race effectively. He as much as he likes leading a race at the end, he likes to feel like he's worked his way up there. And that's the thing we'll see from Danson all year round. He tends to do that. The only sort of courses that he tends to qualify up front on are the road courses, of course.
So What we're starting to see now is Martin gradually pulling away, a bit of a gap between third and fourth, and what we're seeing now is the high line, as you mentioned, I think is running out of grip. Most people do not want to be on that high line. Everyone searching for that inside line, and that's why we've got basically a straight line from about first to eighth position, and this gap starting to form. So I think you're right. I think tyre wear's starting to come in, and Martin looks very happy out in front.
Yeah, lap 34 we're on now, and this is where the tyres start to go. You'll just, if you sort of run on board or listen close to the engines, you'll hear them lifting through turns 3 and 4. The car actually handles very well through the first 2 corners here. Just coming off the tri-oval, it's not too bad. You can pretty much run flat out through the first section here, even with those tyres falling away. But it's when you come to the back corners, when you come to 3 and 4, the car just likes to start drifting up the track. You just lose front end grip, and you can find yourself very quickly hitting the safer barrier and then getting into an almighty crash. So you've got to be careful, and this is where we can see cautions coming out.
And what we're also starting to see a little bit back and around position 7, 8, 9, 10 is a couple of drivers just beginning to look a little bit impatient behind those that maybe a bit more in tyres than themselves. As some of Chris Purnell's really looking to make a move on the 2 Mitch Motorsport guys back in 7, 8, and 9. So it looks like DG struggling a bit on his tyres, and Chris Purnell looks pretty keen to make a move.
Yeah, they're sitting in a decent spot at the moment. Josh Micklemore's just sitting there on the outside and just making it a bit hard for Purnell to get past. As Danny G just runs a little bit wide there, but Purnell doesn't get the opportunity to pounce. But the Mitch Motorsport boys are starting to work their way up there now, and they're all trying to position themselves now, and it's going to be... The driver's going to be keeping on these tyres for as long as they physically can. In the pre-race show, we are sort of working out sort of possible pit numbers with the sort of just trying to work out sort of pit positioning, things like that. And what we expect to see is probably people coming trying to edge these tyres out to around about lap 60 if they can, and then come in, because of course if you do that, you're going to sort of effectively cut the race into 2 pieces, and you can pretty much run to the end with just having 2 stops. But it's just that little... You've just got to have that patience and not push the car too hard. And Jason Martin's doing a great job. He's not pushing the car hard. He's not racing his car at the moment. He's just letting it go round, and he's not sort of putting extra pressure on it. And that's where he's getting that speed and just pulling out from Jake Maloney. He's also having to fight Michael Skurlock away as well. And Edward Foster's just sitting there pretty happy, just holding on to the back of these guys, letting them squabble. And as they squabble, he's just catching up to them. Danny G's started to get used to his tyres now, but it looks like Josh Micklemore's dropped off a bit. Danny G's taken a big leap forwards there. He's got quite a big gap now between himself and Purnell. And Marco Dortnack as well is up there. So these guys are starting to edge out, and this is where you'll start to see people falling away and people getting some big leads. Speaking of big leads, Jason Martin is currently 1.6 seconds ahead of the second place man, Jake Maloney.
Flying, Carl. He looks fantastic tonight, Martin. Barring cautions or any major accidents as the race goes on, he's looking very, very good tonight. As back in second, third and fourth, we are seeing Maloney come under immense pressure now from Skurlock and Foster.
Yeah, they are really working hard, and just coming up on some lap traffic now for Jason Martin. We're just coming up on some lap traffic, and again, as we saw in the 500, this is where you can start having problems, because lap traffic, you don't have to get out the way of people. You can race still. You're racing to keep on that lap. But of course, if you're racing too hard, which we saw at the 500, where we had a car high and low, accidents can happen, and especially if you're sort of racing each other in the pack while you're passing a lapped car as well, it can sometimes come into problems.
Sorry, Carl, a lapped car, just as you were talking about it, has caused some issues for the guys in second, third and fourth as Ed Foster moves into third, but made a little movement to the right. I thought he was about to pull in front of Maloney there, but luckily he didn't, and they all got through unscathed. Geez, Danny G is absolutely flying.
Yeah, Danny G has got some serious pace there. Yeah, Ayrton Smith there. He's starting to struggle. And we've got a caution. We've got a caution. Just trying to see what that was. Actually,
I think Douglas might have been involved.
I think Dave Douglas and possibly Josh Micklemore. I thought I saw Josh Micklemore's car there. As we go back and just try and have a little look for that one.
Oh, there we go. We've got... Oh, it's Martin! No way. Martin's in the wall.
Oh.
What?
That is devastating for Jason Martin. We'll have to go back and have a little look at that one.
Oh, just don't believe... Oh, it's a spinny car and it's a huge impact. Martin has absolutely T-boned. We were just talking about it. A blue flag driver, lapped car, has crashed and Martin has absolutely smashed into him and that's race over. Oh, I just don't believe it.
Huge shame for Jason Martin. He is... Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And look, Jason Martin, there is no doubting that he is good. But the luck is not with him at the beginning of the season. That is a real shame. Or, excuse me, Jason Martin there getting absolutely getting robbed. Getting robbed. That's the best way I can put it. Real shame for Martin there. That is devastating. He's going to be very unhappy about that one, I'm sure.
Oh, it's 2 weeks in a row. Martin has been in the lead of the race and it's gone wrong, and it's Simon Mazzano who's lost it on the exit of 2. And Martin has actually driven towards the accident. As you sometimes train, drive towards the accident because the accident won't be there. But Mazzano's put his brakes on and Martin has just absolutely walloped him. Oh, just cannot... Oh, and actually, following on from that, there's been another little hit of Mazzano. And it was... I think it might have been our winner from... It was Joshua Carroll-Walden. Has also cleaned up Mazzano.
Joshua Carroll-Walden getting involved in that one as well. Then, that is just...
Wow.
Yeah, he just got clipped there as Mazzano, I think, was just trying to get off the line. And sometimes it's best to... Look, one of the big tips for these drivers is when you're in an accident like that, just hold your position sometimes. Because I was looking back, Josh Micklemore has gone the lap down as well. Because I'm not sure what happened to him, but yeah, we've had some serious changes up at the front there. Of course, everybody's pitted and got positions and things like that. But that was a real shame there. That we had a really nice green period there, and then Jason Martin has just got robbed, really. That's all you can say. And it looks like Jake Maloney's coming back into the pits. Wonder if he picked up a penalty coming in when he did, or if he's just coming in to get something, just a top up or something like that. I can't imagine he'll be just topping up a little bit extra, because you're not really going to gain positions. He's going to lose a lot of track position here. But Jake Maloney's just coming into the pits. Trying to work out what happened to Jake Maloney there. Like he's just getting tyres on. Lots of things have happened which we're just a bit unsure about there.
Yeah, that's bizarre for Maloney, and that's going to really hamper his race. He came out of the pits in good position, sitting well. I think you might have been right. There might have been a penalty of some kind there. I watched his pit stop. He definitely got all 4 tyres in his pit stop. I mean, all we can gather, I suppose, from here is there was some kind of black flag penalty.
Yeah, again, we saw that with
Purnell,
Chris Purnell at Daytona. Yeah, so Purnell unfortunately got the penalty, and then he got a second penalty for it as well, which just made things even worse for poor Chris. But yeah, that was a real disaster, real shame, and has really sort of hurt some of the drivers that were looking good for tonight. Joshua Carroll-Walden sort of sitting back there in the number 35 for JP Simshed, and it's not too bad. He's not got the damage isn't too great on his car, but he has got a little bit of front damage, front left hand damage even. Sorry, and Jake Maloney's actually just come out just behind him. So yeah, those guys are sort of right at the back. We'll sort of see how that all goes. Looks like Simon Mesmo is just saying his tire just let go all of a sudden, and yeah, he just
dear.
unfortunately a little bit of inexperience, and this is what can happen. It's very hard racing these cars, and it's something that, again, we were saying at Daytona, but these drivers coming into the Cup Series, they're not quite as experienced as some of the others, and this kind of thing will really catch you out. It is a big thing, and the tires on this track, they just fall off the cliff all of a sudden. You'll be going around for 35 laps, flat out, no problem. On a 36th lap, you'll just go straight up into the barrier for it almost feels like no reason at all, and you're out of the race. It looks like that's what's happened to Mazzamo. So he's apologised, and but it takes a big man to say sorry in motorsport. Drivers don't like apologising. They don't like to admit to their own mistakes, but owning up to it is definitely a good way to go. And it's unfortunately, mistakes happen to us all. As the pace car comes in, and E53 himself, Mr. Edward Foster, is going to lead away with Michael Skurlock beside him. And we're green, green, green. Foster gets a good launch in the JP Simshed car. And Skurlock behind him in the Illusion is just sitting a little bit further back. And you've got Danny G now fighting with the Mitch Motorsport car. So those three big super teams we're talking about are now 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see. We want to see these guys battling, and it's been a really good pit stop for Danny G and Ed Foster. They've moved up the field through those pit stops. Will Danny G look to make a move for the inside line? He doesn't. So,
but just look behind Danny G. Just a little bit of a tap there, I think, from Riley Curtis on Jones. Yeah.
Jeez, that could have been big.
Yeah, Ryan Jones just got, and Ryan Jones has got into somebody. There we go. We've got a big crash.
The big one.
In the middle. 47 has gone through. Brian Richmond. Brian Richmond, I think, was just coming down, and the old cautions breed cautions sentiment has come in. Just going across the tri-oval there. Brian Richmond's just gone up. He's just got squeezed a little bit by the number 9. The number 9, of course, where are we? Number 9. And he's just got squeezed up a little bit, and nowhere Ryan Jones could go, unfortunately, with that one. And that's taken him down. He's gone straight down into Daniel Stevens, one of the stars of the Daytona 500. And there is a cacophony of chaos behind there. Ryan McCarthy has got barely any car left. A lot of drivers got caught up in that incident. There is going to be a fair few drivers that have got some serious damage. Bradley Kemp going round. Jonathan Hancock now has got a car that is running in a Robin Reliant mode, it almost looks like, on the three wheels. Bill Otto, Brett Douglas, unfortunately. Brett Douglas, of course, one of our early commentators for the Cup Series way back in the day. Good to see him actually out there racing, but not good to see him getting caught up in that incident. A real shame there, and that was a big one. And unfortunately, as we said, cautions breed cautions sometimes in racing. It's often said in endurance racing, because that's usually what happens, is when you get a caution come out, you get many more cautions following, and it's happened here tonight. Michael Cracknell is in, just having a quick look, Jason Hartigan has got some serious damage. Jonathan Hancock's carrying around a little bit further. He's not pitting, but he has got some serious damage on the car. Jake Maloney's managed to stay out of it. Just trying to have a little look for Mr. Danson, Matt Danson, wherever he is. He's up in 13th, but he's coming to the pits. Looks like his car was relatively straight, though. So, sort of just going to quickly go and have a little look back, but he looks like he was pretty much fine. But I think he's just coming in for a bit of a strategic stop, just get a little bit of fuel on board, change those tyres, get something else a little bit fresher. These guys have only done a couple of laps on them, but it does make a bit of difference. Once you get to that lap 30, these guys will start losing time and he'll start gaining it. So a little bit of a strategic stop there, I think, for Danson. But there are a lot of cars carrying damage now.
That was a huge wreck, Carl. I think it was 8 or 9 cars, I think I counted, with some pretty major damage over that. And you picked it, you said it right on there, cautions, precautions, and we sort of saw a tap early on in that sequence of Jones up against the wall. out of that sequence, Jones has tried to filter back down, which has put 3, 4 wide, and there's been a couple of little taps, and away she goes. And if you're behind that wreck, there's not much you can do in these cars to avoid it. Matt Hunter actually did an amazing job, and Norman Clark, of avoiding that wreck. I don't know how they did it, but they've gained about 10 positions out of that. And yeah, they've got no damage and sitting pretty now inside the top 10.
Yeah, they've managed to work their way up there. They've done a good job just filtering through. Norman Clark is one of those drivers that's very good at avoiding accident. He has got a lot of experience underneath his belt. Norman Clark is one of those guys, if you ever need somebody to talk to about sort of the art of racing, he's definitely somebody you want to talk to, because he has been there, done it, got the t-shirt, driven the car, and probably won in it as well. Um, Years of experience underneath his belt. Very good driver indeed. But this has really helped those guys out, so they've really come up. Just having a little look to see who else has done well. Devon Stove, another rookie newcomer there. He has come up. He has come up a fair few positions. He's made. Where am I? He's made 26 positions at the moment, and his car is relatively clean. Just behind him in 17th is Matt Allison as well. Again, his car is clean. He's doing a very good job. They're just keeping out of trouble. Jonathan Hancock in the 20 is just sitting there in 13th place at the moment, but he has got a lot of damage on that car. I think he's going to really struggle with that on the restart.
Yeah, good to see some rookies and some new guys making their way through the field. Mix it up with the big teams, hopefully, at the end of this race.
It is always nice to see some fresh faces. It's, you know, it is needed in motorsport. We do need some new faces coming through.
Well, and I think, I think we had around over 55 cars trying to get into the race, so there's probably a lot of new faces out there who have unfortunately missed the cut. But, if you want to make the cut, you've got to be quick, and you've got to get into that top 20 point scoring position. So the more you race, the more chance you have of getting into these events every Thursday night.
Yeah, look, it is a thing if you really do need to practice a lot as well. It's very important, but looks like the pace car is going to be coming in on this lap, so we're going to be going back to green, and hopefully we'll go back to a nice long green stint after this one, and we'll get some good racing going off here for the Abruzzi Cup Series. Oh, bit of a chaotic start, a bit of the opposite from Daytona, where it was a nice calm start leading into the chaos at the end.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. We're coming out of a caution. There's guys towards the end of the pack. They're going to be starting to think about moving forward as we get closer and closer to the halfway mark, I should say. So, yeah, let's see how this pans out. I think you'll see these guys at the front stay pretty calm, but let's sit back and watch the action.
And we're back to green flag. Foster plants it, gets a good launch away. Danny G just a little bit slower on that outside line. The outside line might be just losing a little bit of speed maybe as it goes on. You get a little bit of marbles up there, you get a little bit of debris, things like that. Obviously with all these crashes as well, it just makes it a little bit worse on that outside line. But everybody's away, but now we have to see if everybody can actually keep it as they're going away. And there are a lot of damaged cars at the back of the grid as well, so that's going to start making things hard. And Foster has just made a bit of a mistake there, and he's losing positions. He's fallen all the way back to third at the moment as Danny G takes the lead. But Michael Skurlock is looking to come up the inside of him or the outside. He's all over the back of him at the moment. He is trying his damn to get past him, really putting the pressure on Danny G right now.
Yeah, great move by Danny G. Jeez, he's made his way through the pack quick. He's got a very fast car this evening, and just like his teammate Martin, it looks like he's pretty keen to take the lead of this race and make sure that he's not going to get involved in any drama.
But I think if Mitch Motorsport can get a win out of this tonight, they're going to be pretty happy. Just back in the pack, we've got almost 5 wide across the tri-oval. So some very brave racing going on. Maybe not the smartest racing, but we'll see how that goes. Got a lot of damaged cars out there as well, so that could be a thing for chaos coming in there. There are cars that are falling back from pace. We've got cars that are out of position. We've got some fast cars coming through as well. We've got people like Josh Micklemore, who's just carving his way through the field of all these damaged cars. Matt Danson as well. They're all just climbing straight through this sea of damaged cars at the moment. and they're really coming up quick, but there are a lot of cars that are just not handling the corners. They are going up wide, and they're really struggling for grip out there. But it looks like everybody is sort of managing to make it through at the moment. Jake Maloney's managed to get back up to 17th position after all that chaos. So he's doing well to get back up there. Good job from him to get sort of his way back up there. Out the front, we've still got Danny G leading there. He's doing a good job keeping that lead position. And hopefully he won't fall to the same problem that his teammate had.
No, hopefully not, but it's just another Mitch Motorsport guy keen to take over the lead of the race, and there's some pace on there by Danny G. The field is already stretched out to a single line astern, so he's definitely got pace to win this race.
One of the big things about Mitch Motorsport, of course, is they're a relatively new team. They only came in last year. They've only got one season underneath their belt, and, well, all three of their drivers were pretty much in the chase. Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin were looking at the championship victories. As I say, Josh Micklemore had an amazing start to the season last year. It was something like 7 to 9 races where he didn't even have a single incident point. So it was fantastic driving for him. But a relatively new team, as I say, they've not got the experience of some of the other teams out there as a team, but as drivers they have. And you've got people like Danny G, who is just very, very quick. He's extremely good. He's probably, not to disparage Danny G at all, but he's probably sort of the third driver in that team, with Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin sort of being very much the front guys. But Danny G, if he gets the sniff, if he gets the chance, he will be there for a win. He is still very quick. And those guys have really started making headway and really coming up in a team game.
Well, if he wins tonight, Carl, I'll make sure that I mention that you've noted him down as the third team. I'll see what he has to say about that.
He'll be happy about that, I'm sure. Look, it's one of those things, though. It's very much not not to be disparaging, because I know how fast Danny G is. He's a very good driver. But when you've got drivers, when you've got teammates that are also just so very fast, you've got people like Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin, as I said. Those guys are very, very quick, and they're just helping Danny G, and they're just helping him improve all the time. And it is really showing. He is having fantastic runs. Daytona last time out, he was pretty much at the front the whole race. Again, tonight here at Las Vegas, second race in, he's there at the front. A really strong start to the season, and it's what we want to see. Danny G has got the speed. He just needs that little bit of extra push, probably from the team, and he's getting it now. And that team is working so well together. And of course, you've got Illusion, who have been here for a long time, a very established team. And then we've got JP Simshed, of course, who are new this season to ANZCAR, of course, new to the oval scene sort of area. And they've got things to learn still, but they've got some very talented drivers in there with Foster, Joshua Carroll and Norman Clark. Some really good drivers in their mix. So these teams are very, very strong, and they're just going to get stronger through the season. Just speaking of people that have made their way through the field, though, if we look in fourth place, we have the vegan food car of Mr. Matt Danson.
Wow. Well, you picked it at the start. It was a bizarre start from Matt, but here he is in fourth and pretty keen to have a move at Ed Foster. But this outside line, Carl, doesn't look quick at all. I'd be surprised if he's able to make a move around the outside. I think I've seen a car all night make a move, but he's going to give it a go, and he might go straight down onto the inside line here if he's got a gap. Yeah, he's got him. Wow, okay. He's just proved me wrong. Right around the outside, and not only is he going around the outside of Ed Foster, he wants to go around the outside of the lot of them.
Now, if we look back a little bit, Matt Danson is on fresher tyres. Matt Danson has got tyres that are 5 laps younger than the rest of these guys. And you can just see there the difference between 5 laps on these tyres. Just the amount of grip he's got on that outside line. He's just able to just storm past people. Stopping when he did on that second safety car really has paid dividends. He has really got the speed there as he gets very close to Danny G, but he's just got so much more grip on that outside line than everybody else. He's just flying through the field.
Look at this.
And yeah, he's trying his best to get underneath him now.
Unbelievable.
And just if we look back as well, we've got Jake Maloney, who also made a pit stop at the same time. And he is currently in 8th now, because he was in 11th as he crossed the line, and he's up into 8th now as he gets through the first corner. And he's also closing rapidly on these guys. So you can see the difference these tyres make. 4 to 5 laps makes it's almost about half a second difference.
That's what we're really going to have to watch for as we get close to the end of this race. I might even have to get the old notepad out, Carl, to monitor who's coming in and when and what tyres are they getting, because this is an amazing performance from Dance. The amount of grip he has on those new tyres, and as well as Maloney, is phenomenal.
Yeah,
he goes into the lead of the race.
He has put himself up there. Danny G is really fighting hard. He's got that low line, which is quicker. That high line is a little bit slipperier, but just look at the amount of grip he's got. He's just able to get the power down much quicker on the exit of turn 4, and that's really helping him coming into the tri-oval section and coming through turn 1 and 2. But the big difference is turns 3 and 4. That's where he's got the speed, because everybody else is starting to struggle there, and he's just able to whiz past everybody. He's probably going to cut down in front of him, go past a lapped car there, and he's just holding on. He's trying his best. He's got the speed. He's got a good run. Will he be able to do it this lap? Maybe. It's going to be very close. He's almost got it. He's just got to get. I reckon we'll see next lap, possibly. We might see Matt Danson coming in front of Danny G.
Having a look back, Carl, at Maloney in the background there, weaving his way through the field. So I think penalty had done that extra stop, but geez, it hasn't hampered him at all. I think we're going to see Maloney right back in contention with this race within a matter of laps. Amazing stuff.
I wonder if maybe it wasn't a penalty, just strategically made that decision to come in again. Because the fresher tyres do make a difference here. As I said, it's a tyre-dependent race. This race does not matter on fuel. All about those tyres, and tyres that are 5 laps younger, as you can see, are almost a couple of tenths of a second faster.
And I think we might just be seeing Danson now, his tyres just starting to lose that massive advantage that he had, because he's finding it very hard to get past Danny G for the lead. But as we see Maloney making another move on the inside of the tri-oval, I think he's up to now 7th. Yeah, amazing stuff on these guys.
He's in 7th place now. Look, I think Matt Danson's going to be fine for a couple more laps. The problem is, though, do start getting a bit of marbles on the outside. Offline does start to get a little bit rough, of course, as the race goes on. You might have lots of grip on those tyres, but when you get out on marbles, it does lose that grip as well. So that's the problem you do start having a little bit later on as you run this race, because it is such a rough track on tyres. It chews them up a bit. It does take about 30 laps to happen, but once it happens, they just fall off that cliff. But you can just see here, just the confidence Matt Danson has just going into the corners. Danny G's just having to feather the throttle a little bit as he's coming through 3 and 4, whereas Danson's just flat to the floor.
Now, I don't know if my paints are playing up though. Do you have Matty Danson in a plain grey livery out there, or is that just me?
That would be just you. No,
okay.
Matt Danson in the slightly toned down for Matt Danson colours. It's a sort of very beautiful looking, like chromy, silvery car with the vegan food on the front, and it looks like he's got a couple of eyes on there as well. Something a bit different.
Well, that sounds a lot more interesting than my plain grey that I'm looking at the moment. I thought that seemed a bit weird for Matty Danson to be running it, but that livery sounds fantastic. I wish I could see it.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't have the chrome livery, so I'm just going off our broadcast. So I'm just having a quick glance at that between glances at the actual live action. So it is looking good. Good old trading paints sometimes. It just does not work when you need it to. But Jake Maloney's, he's just carving his way up the field now, and he's just coming up behind Chris Purnell now, and so he's working hard. Just behind him, though, is Mirko Dortnack, who is also on a bit of a charger. His tyres are a bit old, but he is starting to make headway, and he's starting to come down on Jake Maloney as that speed starts to drop. So Jake Maloney, Matt Danson just past, going past one of the middle finger racing cars there. Maybe Stephen Williams. Daniel Stevens. I always get those two mixed up. Too many Stevens. But yeah, just
Daniels.
getting past the middle finger racing cars there, and yeah, he's absolutely flying. And the biggest problem with Matt Danson is he's very good at looking after his tyres as well. So expect him to keep up this pace while others start to drop off. He tends to do quite well in these situations. So he's done well. He's worked his way up from the back of the field up to the front, and yeah, that call for coming in for the fresher tyres has really made a difference. Those tyres are about 5 laps younger, are just so much stickier. They've got so much more adhesion to the road, so much more traction.
Maloney taking his way through some lap cars, getting very close to Doubtnack there. I thought there might have almost been a touch with Micklemore as well, looking mighty racing, or racy, I should rather, on the inside. So a little battle pack forming up there as Norman Clark is starting to also get into the action at the back of this pack.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is a testament to the skill of Josh Micklemore right now. His tyres are almost 40 laps old.
Wow.
And he's doing a fantastic job right now. He's really pushing that car, and yeah, he's on a lot older tyres than the rest of the field, but he's still got that speed. And that's the thing about Micklemore. He is very, very fast. He's very good at keeping it there. As we've got Danny G just getting back on Danson now. He's starting to climb his way back past. He's gone up high, and he might just get the run here. It looks like Danny G is just going to get in front of Danson. Danson's got the inside line at the moment. Will Danny G be able to do it in the orange beast of the Mitch Motorsport team? They get nice and close there on the exit of the corner. As they come onto the tri-oval, Danson comes down onto the nice flat part. You've got to be careful of doing that sometimes, because the car gets very unsettled when you do that, especially when you're on tyres that are a little bit worn, a little bit ropey.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people in qualifying do just as you said, hit the flat part and then hit the oval and crash. So you do have to be careful doing that. I've got the feeling Danson might have made just a little error somewhere in the last couple of laps, because the whole pack now is breathing down his neck. Either that or his tyres are finally starting to feel a little bit of pain. We'll see how this pans out, as Ed Foster looks pretty racy in third position.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he's just had those tyres just drop off a little bit, because he's got to the lap 30 mark on those tyres now, and that's where we've seen the tyres start to drop off on pace and people start to struggle. Everybody but Josh Micklemore, apparently. But yeah, people are starting to struggle. Once you hit that lap 30, it does start just going away from you, and the adhesion just drops, and all of a sudden you just find those front wheels aren't turning anymore. But Danny G's just done a fantastic job here, just getting himself back in front of Danson.
Yeah, an incredible job. I mean, the risk some of these guys are running is the Simon Mazzano type. When these tyres start to go, so with Mazzano, the tyre let go and into the wall, and it took out the leader at the time. So the longer these guys run, the car starts to get a little bit squirmy. They start getting a little bit closer to the wall, and we'll see who's the best at handling those conditions. You know, those people watching right now thinking, okay, these guys are going around, it looks fairly easy. I can tell you, when it starts getting to this stage and your tyres start screaming in these cars, and especially with this version 7 tyres on iRacing, it gets mighty challenging. It almost feels like your rear end just wants to go every corner. So it looks easy at the moment, but I'm just hearing the lifting off there from Danny G. So I think these guys are really starting to feel the pinch with the tyres.
Yeah, look, Danny G's just got to lap 40 on his tyres now, you know, and he's really starting to struggle. Just looking back, Josh Micklemore, he's on his tyres now on lap 43, so a little bit further back, but he's starting to drop back as well. Tyres definitely losing that position, and as the great Fernando Alonso once said, it's like running on sort of driving on runny eggs when your tyres go away like this. It's so slippery, they just have no grip, and it's almost like they're slimy, and it's a horrible feeling when your tyres drop off. And if you've never felt it in a race car, you'll never truly understand it. But the best way I can put it, it's almost like when you're driving in the rain, when you sort of aquaplane. It's a similar feeling. You just lose that adhesion, you lose that grip from almost nowhere. Just going along, and all of a sudden the car just starts to understeer, and you're going, what's going on here? And it becomes very hard to drive on. This is where, you know, the skill really shows. You can just hear the drivers just feathering the throttle as they go through the corners, because if you keep flat, you're just going to keep pushing yourself up the road and then just hit the wall. So you just want to just ease off a little bit, roll off the throttle a little bit. It's also going to help fuel efficiency, of course, but just helps you get on the pace as Matt Danson gets a good run here.
Big move. And you don't want to be on that high line at the moment. We talk about runny eggs on the track. That high line makes runny eggs feel like just absolute freaks. You do not want to be on that high line when the tyres start wearing out like this. Danny G wouldn't be happy there. Matt Danson's going to hold that inside line nicely, I believe.
Yeah, he's in a really good position now, Matt Danson. He is holding there. Just behind him is Adam Foster as well. And Kai Slogger, fantastic job from him. Coming up, he's made 10 positions, getting up there. He's just snuck his way up the field. Kai Slogger there, he's doing a great job of just stealthily moving up the field. And then just on the back of the pack, we've got Mirko Dortmund as well. He's doing a good job just keeping there with the other Illusion drivers.
Danny G's managed to force his way back in front of Danson there. Pretty amazing move. He proved me wrong with the eggs. There's no eggs or oil on the track at all. He took that outside line and retook the lead without any issues at all. So fantastic driving.
Sometimes get the effect of, you know, with tyre wear sometimes, they do sometimes come back to a little bit as they sort of wear down. You just get a little bit of extra grip from somewhere as they get to a certain point of cohesion. As we do see somebody coming into the pit lane. I think it might be one of the lapped cars. Look back to see who that was. It was Michael Skurlock actually coming in. So, yeah, Skurlock's coming in for his pit stop.
Alright, the first of some big names. So
the first to blink for sure. So Skurlock coming in for his pit stop. He's going to change those tyres. He's the first one to do it under green. And he is going to gain the undercut now. So we've got Purnell coming in now. So Illusion are making their move. And the longer these guys stay out, it's going to cost them in time. Because once these guys get back out on track, they're going to be about a second faster than these guys up front. And, you know, when we're talking about a lead of 1 second, that is quickly eroded on those fresh tyres. So the longer these guys stay out, hoping for a caution probably, the worse it becomes, and you get to a point where if that caution doesn't come, you've basically cost yourself a race. It is a gamble, and of course we're at the home of gambling. Of course, we are in Las Vegas.
Well, 42 laps to go, so they've obviously, that's enough on one stint of tyres. But as you said, these guys at the front, they're probably going to do the reverse. They're going to be waiting for a caution. Yes, there might be an undercut, but if there's a caution, you're going to be on much fresher tyres, and you're going to be able to make your way past those people that have gone for the undercut quite quickly towards the end of the race. So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys at the front try and eke out as many laps as possible, hoping for some sort of caution.
Well, the other thing you get as well is, as we saw with Matt Danson, those fresher tyres throughout a stint, those guys pitting now, they're going to have to run a little bit longer on those tyres, so they're going to get a bit of difference, and then your tyres become good, and then you're going to start catching up to them. It's a little bit like cat and mouse. It's that little bit of chasing each other as Danny G's coming into the pits. Yeah, just see it there. He just lifted off, nice and easy coming into the pit lane. It's a tricky pit lane, this one at Las Vegas. It's very easy to make a mistake when you come in, and it's very easy to cost yourself a lot of time.
Alright, so we've basically got 3 drivers now, one first, second and third. It'd be interesting to see Danson and Sloggett. How long do these guys want to stay out for before they pit? If the big names are pitting, I'm guessing the tyres aren't feeling fantastic. And then looking at the amount of laps to go, you're looking at about 39 laps to go. That's plenty of laps. As yes, the leader is in. Danson is in. No, he's not, sorry, and I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, he's still out there, along with Foster and Sloggett.
That might mean he's going for a little trip on the tri-oval.
Yeah, he's cutting the track as short as possible, you know, which is a good way of doing it. But right now, the guys that have stopped, they're a lap down. So you lose a lap when you pit here, of course. It's a 1.5 mile oval. It's not very long. So you do lose a lap when you come into pit. But they're going to be going so much faster than the guys that are sitting out there, and they're just going to eke away time as this goes on. Just going to look quickly at the times that are being set once I get everything sorted out on the timing screen. So Michael Skurlock, that last lap was a 30.75, while Matt Danson up in front was a 31.6, so a second faster on those fresh tyres. And that's a second a lap, and that's going to start eating into that lead pretty quickly. So when these guys stop, if they stop in a green flag situation, which they might be doing, it does look more and more likely. We could well see Chris Purnell is in prime position at the moment, as well as Michael Skurlock, just coming up on his teammate there, Dave Douglas, just getting very, very close there, Purnell. Those illusion cars were just running nose to tail there for a few moments. It almost looked like there was going to be a coming together, but they've all sort of slipped out the way. And yeah, look, Chris Purnell is absolutely logging the car around at the moment. He is on fire. He is definitely setting some serious lap time. Much faster.
You just hope they haven't gone too early, Carl. I mean, time will tell at the end of this race, but what's shaping up to be quite fascinating is 3 or 4 different drivers in 2 different groups. We've got 3 or 4 guys that have pitted in early. We've got
And
3
Foster
or 4 guys. Foster's in, so he's blinked out of that top 3 group. We've still got Danson and Sloggett sitting out there waiting to pit.
Oh, he's definitely flogging it at the moment. He's putting that car around as fast as he can. So, he's got a relatively good name.
Keep flogging it, Kai. Keep flogging it.
But this has actually worked out kind of well for Middle Finger Racing. They're currently sitting third, fourth, and second, third, and fourth at the moment. So the MFR guys are doing quite well here, which is nice to see. It's another team that we didn't really talk about in the sort of big team sort of area, but Middle Finger Racing have been in this series pretty much since the start, and they've got some very good drivers. Cluett last year, of course, was the runner-up in the
the car spinning on the back straight.
We have, and it's
no caution.
Out of caution. No caution by the looks of it. Looks like might have been Dave Douglas actually. He's going slow. Dave Douglas might just be coming out from pit stop actually. Trying to have a little bit of a look to see who that was, but yeah, it's a bit hard at the moment because cars are all over the place.
Sloggett has come in from second place, Carl, so Danson still remains out. He's the last one
to blink at the moment. So Edward Foster is out now, and he's dropped all the way back to 15th position, just staying out on those tyres. And looking through my timing screen now, just seeing where everything sits. But he is quite a few seconds down from people like Chris Purnell. He's almost half a second. He's almost 15 seconds down on Chris Purnell at the moment.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of positions lost there, and that's a lot of time as well. Jake Maloney's just sitting there in second at the moment now. He's still on those tyres, but his tyres are slightly younger than that of Danson, so his tyres are now on their 50th lap. So his tyres are definitely not prime brand new. They're looking a bit second hand, but they are there. And now sitting in third place is Ayrton Smith, who had that little bit of an incident earlier on. He sort of had a little bit of trouble earlier on, but he's now managed to get into third place as it runs, as everybody's pitted around him. So if the caution comes out now, it's going to be looking pretty good for him. That's the risk you have to take sometimes.
I mean, these guys that haven't pitted are just praying for a caution. I mean, that car that spun on the back straight, Mac Danson would have looked as he drove past thinking, that's it, that's what I needed, and the caution didn't come. But here he goes, keeps lapping. I'm not sure if he's coming in now or... He is.
Yep, he's coming in now. You can just hear him lift off. And Maloney, let's see if he does. He's just coming around, and oh, Maloney's just he's caught up high, and he's not going to be able to come in, I don't think, this time round, because he's just caught out high there. Even if he wanted to pit, he wouldn't have been able to, because he had so many cars on the inside of him. He couldn't effectively pit. So that might have cost Jake Maloney dearly there. He's just going to be going for a little bit longer now. But Matt Danson's stopped in the pits. He's going to get a full service, nice bit of fuel on board. He's going to come out on those nice, sticky, fresh tyres. But he is going to be quite far down the field. So
he is, as basically our effective race leader is Chris Purnell with teammate Michael Skurlock behind, Mirko Doudnak in third, and Danny G in fourth. So will these guys that have stayed later be able to catch up?
Yeah, that's it. Currently we've got effectively we've got an illusion top three here with Doudnak there with Danny G behind him. Danny G is frantically trying to get past, and he's trying his best to do it on the tri-oval, but just not got the outside grip at the moment. He's on slightly fresher tyres though, so that's the good thing for Danny G at the moment. His tyres are about two to 3 laps younger than the guys ahead of him. So he's going to start sort of having a little bit of extra pace on these guys through the corners for a couple of laps, but it's not going to last long. What they've got to do now, though, is they've got to just hold it in, and Jake Maloney's going to pit this time round, I think. No, he just had there was a spin in front of him, actually. I think it was Evan. He might have just had a bit of a spin in front as he's coming back out onto the track. Jake Maloney's heart would have jumped to his mouth there, hoping for a caution flag to come out, and it didn't for him. But he's currently just sitting out there. Just all of the cars that are on fresh tyres are just whizzing past him. He's currently got a bit of a lead, but he's just got into the wall, actually. Maloney just taps the wall there, I think. I just saw, yeah, he's just tapped the wall coming through turn 2, ran wide, straight into the wall, and he's coming into the pits. He's coming in very, very quickly. Will he be able to slow down in time? He might have got a penalty for that one because he was coming across the cone line sideways. So not what you want to do, but this is giving the lead to Chris Purnell, to Danny G. Danny G.
Yeah. While you're away, I was thinking, what's Danny G going to do? He's got 3 illusion cars teaming up against him, and he's gone, stuff that. I don't want anything to do with that. And he's made 3 overtakes within about a lap and a half, and he's straight into the lead of this race.
That is a fantastic job from Danny G. We're seeing an absolute masterclass from him being put on today. He's definitely got that pace. And like I was saying earlier, he's got 2 very experienced teammates with a lot of wins behind him. And I think having that little bit of extra support behind him is just helping him get that bit more confidence in himself. And he has been really on fire so far this season. The opening 2 races, he has really had some serious speed as Jake Maloney just comes out.
There he is.
You just see him just getting passed by the leaders. He's gone a lap down now.
A lap down, yeah.
And from leading to a lap down, and that's the difference of those tyres. You know, it's a big, big time loss he had. So he's going to have to work very hard to make that one back up.
Well, that second group of drivers we were talking about earlier, Carl, are closing in by about half a second to 0.8 per lap, led by Josh Mipplemore, Ed Foster, Riley Curtis, James Robbie, Matt Danson, and Kai Sloggett flying up behind this leading pack. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that pack form up behind these guys somewhere before the end of this race. 22 laps remaining. We'll see how they go. They really have to catch up a half a second a lap from here out to catch these leading guys.
Yeah, and this is what they're going to do. And look, don't take Matt Danson out of this yet, because he is absolutely flying out there at the moment. Last lap was a 30.5, sort of one of the faster laps the fastest lap we've seen from him all night, actually. So very fast lap from Matt Danson there. Daniel Stevens has actually got the current best lap of anyone with a 30.32. So fantastic lap for Dan Stevens, but unfortunately he got caught up in a wreck earlier on, which has pretty much put him out of the race. But leading with still a decent pace is Danny G. Danny G was sort of running about 2 to 3 tenths faster than the guys behind him at the moment. So he's got some pace, and those tyres are just a little bit fresher, and that might just be helping him. Just that little bit more adhesion on those tyres is just giving him that little bit more confidence, a bit more speed through that back sector, and he's just pulling away from Purnell, Skurlock, and Dornack.
He's looking very good, Carl.
Foster
We said that
and
earlier with his teammate. We saw
yes,
that.
we don't want to put the curse of the commentator on him again. Mitch Motorsport might be sending us a couple of nasty letters if we keep putting the curse of the commentator on him.
I might not be here next Thursday.
That's it. But coming up very quickly behind the Illusion guys is the JP Simshed car of Edward Foster, with the other Mitch Motorsport car of Josh Micklemore stuck to the back of him, and they are absolutely flying at the moment, catching him up. Riley Curtis is doing a fantastic job. He's currently sitting down in 7th. Did qualify in 3rd, but he's sitting in 7th at the moment. Really good job for Riley, and it's nice to see him up there. And Riley Curtis, of course, in the A1 Sim Sports team this year, with the Riley Curtis design team sort of coming to a close last season and seeing the split of himself, Edward Foster, and Dave Douglas. A very successful team, in all honesty, that lot. They had some fantastic races, and they would always manage to pull a bit of a trick on the super speedways. Usually with Dave Douglas getting him into a winning position. But as we see, just Jake Maloney's just flying past Danny G now, just getting his lap back. But he's now got to catch up by a lap to get on the back of these guys. So I don't see him doing that.
He's praying for a caution, which doesn't, to be quite honest, I'm probably going to put the mocker on this race. It just doesn't seem like it's happening. The field is so spread out, and everyone's so reliant now on tyre conservation or pushing. We could see a green flag right to the end. I mean, we've only got 26. How's my maths going? 26 laps. No, that's not right. Geez,
No,
not even that. 15 laps.
15 laps to go.
I need to go back to school. 15 laps to go. So we are really getting into the businesses of this race. And that pack, again, Ed Foster leading them, only 3.5 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. And look, as we said earlier with the hybrid racing simulations, pit stop strategy we had in the beginning, probably a 2-stop race, and that's what we've had for pretty much everybody. Jake Maloney and Jason Hardigan have got 4 stops, as well as Michael Cracknell, but most of that was just get damage fixed and things like that, and just sort of circumstances with some of the caution flags. The highest guy with multiple stops other than 2 is actually Matt Danson, who is flying through the field at the moment, trying his best to get on there. He's actually just got behind Edward Foster now. So Matt Danson is on the charge now, and he is smelling blood at the front of the pack. Will he be able to do it? Will he be able to catch up? He's 3.5 seconds off the lead at the moment, but he has got some serious pace in that car, and he could well come back at us. He's on much fresher tyres.
He's catching by almost half a second a lap, Carl, with only 13 laps to go. 3.5 seconds. So if you do the maths, which I'm not going to try and do after my last effort, but I think we're going to see that pack that stayed out late catch this leading trio of Illusion cars, and I think we're in for a pretty special finish.
We are. Look, you just see here Danson just going down the inside of Foster, just so much more grip in that car, and he just easily goes past him. Almost effortless pass there, and Edward Foster is not somebody that's going to make passing easy. I know that from experience, through lots of experience racing Ed. He does not make it easy to get past, but you can just see the amount of grip that Danson has. He just could not do anything to defend that, and Danson's now closing on Dortnack. He's got a bit of a gap there, but that gap is going to shrink and shrink and shrink.
Well, this is... Oh, sorry, Carl. I was just going to say, I think this is where the teammanship's going to come into play. I don't think Dowdenak's going to be letting the likes of Matty Danson and Edward Foster come through quite as easy. I mean, he's got 2 guys in front of him on the podium of his team. So we're about to see, I think, I don't think Matty Danson's going to find it too easy to get past Dowdenak.
I think he's going to try his best, but the problem that you face in Dornak's position is just the fact that Danson can attack on the high line, on the low line, and right now you can just see he's just got that low line and he can just keep a little bit tighter. Dornak was just drifting up the track there, just losing that front end grip, and there was nothing he could do against Danson.
Oh, wow.
And looks like Foster's going to have the same experience. He's just got that grip on the low line that he doesn't have, and we see Danson just stream past Skurlock as well. They just can't do anything about it because he's just able to just drive on that low line and just stream past these guys as we get a big group of lap traffic there. But Danson is now in third position. Chris Purnell is the lone illusion car now at the front to defend off against this charge from Matt Danson, who qualified on the front, went straight to the back of the grid at the start just to have a bit of fun and prove his dominance, as is often the case with Danson. And he could be coming back for the victory on this one. And just look at how much speed.
Unbelievable how much speed he's gotten. I thought of the lap car there of Douglas, I think it was, at some stage another illusion car was going to put a block on, but there's nothing anyone can do about it. He has a big lunge up the inside and makes the move.
And Chris Purnell just can't do anything about that. He can't move down, he can't really get any position, and he can't position his car anywhere to stop him because he's just got so much more grip. You're just able to run circles around the other cars.
Well, Danny G will be sweating bullets because he knows, and he'll be watching his timing as he comes around every time that Matty Danson's on the charge, and that gap's going to close up very dramatically.
He's just going to be looking in his rear view mirror, just looking back at the illusion cars, thinking, all right, I've got this in the bag, and all of a sudden, the vegan food car just appears out of nowhere, and he's just like, oh, well, here comes Danson. So what can Danny G do to keep him out of the way? Danny G is on slightly fresher tyres than the illusion cars, but it's 10 laps older than Matt Danson's. And this is what we were saying before about hitting later, of course, you have that speed for the end of the race. But we saw with Jake Maloney, he just left it a little bit too long.
5 laps to go, Carl. 5 laps to go as we cross the line. Will he catch Danny G?
Well, he's 2 tenths off that last lap, gaining 2 tenths a lap. It's not much Danny G can do about this one.
So you say Matty Danson's got it in the bag, Carl?
I would never say anything like that because I guarantee to curse somebody, but look, Danson has just got the grip and the speed. It's just going to be like taking candy from a baby here. He's just going to go straight down the inside, and poor Danny G's just not going to have the grip to really hold him off. We'll probably see Danson make the pounce. He's going to go for the outside, does the dummy. Now he's going to go for the inside, will he? Sitting there just on his tail, and inside he goes. Danny G can't really do much.
He blocks.
He's going to come down. Good positioning, but now Danson is going to have a good run on the outside, and he's got the grip to take it round the outside. And you can just see here the grip of Matt Danson. He just drives straight past. Not even a bead of sweat dripping from his brow there. It was just easy as. And Danny G, again, is not an easy guy to pass. He is very, very quick, very, very good. But the 10-lap younger tyres just make a big difference here.
Unbelievable by Matty Danson. It's like he's just been toying with everybody all race. As Ed Foster's got the same grip as he does, as it looks like he's making a move to get onto the podium.
Yes, and what you saw before that Foster and Danson were battling.
Oh, they've touched! Foster! The Purnell have touched. Foster gets around. Jeez, that was close to being a huge accident.
Purnell did a fantastic job of saving that one, just getting it in nick of time there. Just got it in there. But what I was just saying before is the difference between, the tyres here is Foster's tyres have done 32 laps, Danson's has done 26 laps. And that difference is enough for Matt Danson to just run away with this one and just streak away from Foster, while Foster is just battling with it still. He might catch Danny G though, so Foster could be looking at second place right now. Just looking down though, what I was going to say before was Jake Maloney. He's currently down in 19th position, I think. Just looking at my timing screen now. 16th position, sorry. 16th position, so he left it a bit too long. If he'd stopped with Matt Danson, he would probably be looking at a win or second place right now, because he was right next to Danson when those pit stops were happening. But he decided to stay out a couple of laps longer, and that caused him to make that mistake. Ran up and yeah, had that problem. But we are on we're on the last lap. We're on the white flag lap. So the hybrid racing simulations white flag lap is out.
And it's going to be a remarkable win for Danson. We thought maybe he left it out too long. He didn't leave it out too long at all. He judged it absolutely perfect. What a win.
Perfect drive for Danson there. He is going to be chuffed about that one. Danny G getting a fantastic second place. Started 9th, got 2nd. Edward Foster getting 3rd place. He's going to be pretty happy about that. Gained a couple of positions. We've got Chris Purnell in 4th with Michael Skurlock 5th, Mirko Dortnack 6th. So good job for Illusion there. Kai Slogger ends up getting into 7th place with the car that's a little bit second-hand. Josh Micklemore manages to finish behind him in 8th position. And then as everything just starts shaking itself out, just wait for everything to get there. Riley Curtis got 9th position. Good job for Riley. Nice finishing position for Riley Curtis. He had a bit of a tough season last year. He's going to be happy with a top 10 finish. Brett Girditz gets 10th in the end. Good job for him. He was involved in an accident a little bit earlier on. In 11th place, we've got Norman Clark. Good drive for Norman. Again, he got caught up in that accident, unfortunately. Cluett in 12th place with Dave Douglas 13th. Michael Cracknell 14th. Hamish Gallagher in 15th. Dylan Davies in 16th. 17th, we've got Matt Allison. Another good strong showing from Allison. He started 42nd and finished 17th. So really good drive from him. He's really doing well this season for his first season as well. Jake Mullaney ended up finishing in 18th position. Then we had James Roby in 19th. 20th was Jason Hartigan. 21st was Tristan Koch with Michael Latterer 22nd. Mick Wilson 23rd with Jonathan Hancock 24th. Good job for Jonathan Hancock. Qualified 40th, finished 24th. Very good drive from him. Devin Stove made it up to 25th in the end. Bradley Allison in 26th. Again, another really good job from the other Allison out there. Joshua Carroll Walden finished 27th. Unfortunately, got caught up in that incident earlier on. Daniel Stevens again got caught up in that incident, 28th. Stephen Williams 29th. Brett Douglas 30th. He managed to just keep trucking round there with a car that was missing pretty much the whole front end. Damon Stockton was in 31st with Ayrton Smith in 32nd. Ryan DeCarthy MacArthur was 33rd with Matt Hunter in 34th. Bradley Kemp 35th. Simon Mazzamo in 35th. 36th, we have Phil Otto with Jason Martin 38th. Unfortunately got taken out 61 laps ago in that big incident. Raymond Yeager in 39th. Paul Jackson 40th. 41st, Ryan Jones. Scott Butler 42nd. And Brian Richmond rounds it out with 43rd position. But Matt Danson, what a fantastic win from him. He really just showed his speed there.
I pitted on the exact right lap, and unfortunately for the Illusion boys, 4th, 5th and 6th, they seemed to pull the trigger a little bit too early. And Matt Danson just knew exactly the lap to go, and he really pushed out the tyres and took the lead with 3 laps to go. It was just perfect. An amazing drive.
Yeah, it's you'll get used to Danson doing this kind of thing. He's a bit magical sometimes. He's got some speed, and he's got the bravado to back it up as well. So we'll grab down Matt Danson to have a bit of a chat. The number 30 of Matt Danson. Mr. Matt. Oh, wrong Matt there. Where is it gone? Sorry, no, I had 2 Matts in here there for a second, so I completely messed up. Matt Danson, congratulations on the win here at Las Vegas.
Thanks, Carl.
That's all right. I absolutely made an absolute mess of
Matt.
Congratulations on that win. That was a pretty dominant race from yourself.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had, I think, only one blown yellow flag. So It's a green flag running, which made the sort of drive through the field extra fun. And yeah, we got the green flag stopped as well, which is
Yeah, it
So-
was nice to see some green flag stops there. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so Matty, can you explain the start with me there, mate? I mean, you're on the front row of the grid. You've pulled off. Is that just pure bravado, just saying I don't care where I'm going to be, I'll win this race, or what was the thought around that strategy?
I mean, it was a pretty long race, right? Like 134 laps. I was pretty confident I could get back there, so I just wanted to, yeah, just sort of have a bit of fun, and make it interesting. I knew I had a bit of speed.
Wow, that's a lot of speed, mate. That's an amazing drive, mate, to do what you did there. I don't think many people could do what you've just done, so I tip the cap. An amazing race, and you seemed to pit on almost the exact lap that you needed to, compared to a lot of the other drivers. You were one of the last to pit at the end of that race. Was that a lot of practice during the week to know what lap to pit on? Is that just experience, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of bad strategy calls in my time, so I think I've got used to where the sweet spot is. Because as much as you don't lose too much speed with this tyre, you sort of lose just enough to where staying out that bit longer is usually, if you stay green, like that's the risk, right? Like if I could look really stupid if the yellow had to come out after 10 laps. So yeah, that's the risk. But everyone in here is usually pretty good, pretty clean. So I was confident it would go green to the end. So like as much as it's a bit of a silly thing to drop to the back. Honestly, like part of the reasoning behind that is just to get the experience, working through traffic, dealing with the car, in dirty air and just building that. Because I mean, I could run out front the whole race, but I wouldn't learn anything and it wouldn't be fun. So it's yeah, I wouldn't say it's all bravado. Like I'm not that much of a tosser.
It's only about
No, well-
95% bravado, isn't it? That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
No, well done, Matty. An impressive drive, mate. I thoroughly enjoyed watching you tonight.
Thanks, boy.
Yeah, and it's good to see you back. Obviously, you missed Daytona last on Saturday, unfortunately. But I hear you're going to be pretty busy this season as well. So it does make it a little bit trickier. But look, you won here last year at Las Vegas. Again, another victory here. You seem to go very well on these tracks, and again, it seems with those tracks where tyres are a little bit, just have that knack of keeping tyres just lasting a little bit longer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially hard, like now because these cars make, so much downforce. So you're pretty much full throttle a lot of the time. So finding that little bit just to be able to save, it's sort of, something you do on lap 5, ends up helping you on lap 20. You know what I mean? Like it's such a, it's annoying in the sense of it's everyone's so packed on top of each other, but it's fun at the same time. But then it's also like a little bit of a nuance, I guess, in saving it. And I don't have it down pat by any means. So still trying to learn and work out how to make that better. To hopefully propel me to something. Obviously I'm looking to try and go up through the pro ranks this year. So I need to find that next little step.
But it's we can never count against you there, Mr. Danson. You've always got that bit of speed, and you always manage to bring out something special. And the thing is, it's an endorsement for ANZCAR as well. Is just the fact you do get that learning for that pro series, and we like to hear that, and we really hope to see you go well for the pro this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, look, you got to win it for us now. That's the thing. You've got high expectations on you.
No pressure, mate.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
So, Matt, anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight? Sponsors, things like that.
Yeah, give a shout out to Horizon Racing Team. Obviously the boys there, so shout out to them just because. Vegan Food Melbourne. I know obviously got a lot of fans. The dancers, as we know. Carl, I know you're a big fan. But more recently, I've had some other high profile fans. MFR, I know, big time dancing fans. So I'll shout out and dedicate this win to my friends at MFR, I'd say.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. We look forward to seeing you again in the season. Best of luck with everything. And Well, it's we'll see the vegan food car up there again, I'm sure, in the next couple of races.
Oh yeah, thanks guys.
Thanks, Matt. Matt Danson there, the winner of the race. Just a dominant drive there from Danson, and it's one of the things. He's got a lot of speed, and he is very, very good at keeping those tyres running. And this season, I know he's going to be focused a little bit more on some of the major races and things like that. So we might not see a full season from him, but it's definitely good experience coming through the ranks here. And one of the things that ANZCAR does give is very good experience for that oval racing. There is a lot of good, clean racing out there. Unfortunately, you do get a couple of accidents, but you get that experience, and it does help you out in the end.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that was what he wanted to do. You know, to be on pole and go to last and come back and win. I'm blown away. So yeah, I mean, I think he, by the sounds of it, he definitely belongs at the pro level.
You'll get used to it. Okay, I'll grab down Danny G now, our second place man. Danny G, how is it going?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Congratulations on a well-earned second place there.
Yeah, cheers. I had to drive for it. It was a bit disappointing I got past with 5 to go, but I seen him coming, and the moment he got right alongside me in turn 3 and 4, I just couldn't put the throttle down. I would have ran into the side of him. So, yeah, second I did.
Look, it's very hard when you've got sort of there's about a 10-lap difference between tyre freshness there, and he just had so much more grip there. But you did a fantastic job of keeping out front of a lot of the other guys, especially the Illusion cars and Edward Foster as well in third place. Really good strategy today. It looked like you guys were running well, especially yourself and Jason Martin earlier on. Unfortunately, Martin getting taken out in the first incident. But it's been a strong start to the season, but luck's not always been not been on your side so far.
No, not really. Yeah, it all seems to happen, well, especially for me with 5 laps to go. Go wrecked at Daytona and then this one. But I mean, Daytona was disappointing, but tonight sort of makes up for it. I really didn't know how the night was going to go with the style of racing, and I mean, practice seemed very quick, and like, everyone's just so close together at the moment. And I was actually really surprised it was I think only one caution or whatever, and it was a really clean race. Well done by everybody.
Yeah, we 2 cautions in the end. We had a caution just after the first caution, unfortunately. Caution breeding a caution, but it was pretty much green for most of that. We just had that little bit sort of midway through from about lap 40, I think it was, off the top of my head. But one of the things I want to mention is this season, you're just looking a little bit more confident. You've got a little bit more, seem to be carrying a little bit more speed this season. How's it going for you in that respect?
I sort of still approached this race pretty much the same. That's why I was sort of hanging in the back of the top 10 there. I was just sort of watching the leaders, seeing what's going to happen, and then I sort of make my run about halfway. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I did have a pretty good year last year. Just the results didn't show in the end, so hopefully I can just keep it up. And I mean, tonight's confidence, and at least I know I can be up there. And I was racing Danson for the lead there about the halfway mark or just before those green flag pit stops or whatever, and I've managed to actually pass him, which I don't know if I've done before, so that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, you had some fantastic jobs out there. And one of the things I was saying earlier on is with Mitch Motorsport, you guys are really starting to sort of have that team sort of starting to work together, and you've got a fantastic team around you. And with of course, with Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin with you, 2 very, very quick drivers. They seem to be just dragging you up there and just giving you that little bit of push, getting you up into the sort of higher positions this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, following Jason through practices and testing, I mean, you just sort of naturally get a little bit faster. I think because you're always consistently trying to beat him, and then so we're pretty much on the same speed. We just need the results, a bit of luck, and hopefully we'll all be up there in the top 3 soon.
Well,
Yeah, and that's been the sort of the sad thing, I think, from a Mitch Motorsports perspective. Martin tonight in the lead for the majority of the race, and again he was mixed up in an accident with a blue flag runner, I believe, while in the lead of the race. I couldn't believe it, but it's really cool to see you up here on the podium for Mitch Motorsports. It looks like you guys have a pretty formidable 3-car lineup this year, and it's going to be exciting to see you guys mix it with the other teams.
Yeah, cheers. I think you will. I think the competition in ANZCAR has gotten a lot more aggressive, and I think as a team, and as a driver personally, you sort of have to step your game up too, because I know what it's like to sort of take it a little bit easy and you drop from 3rd to 10th pretty quick.
It's such an easy thing to do, and look, we were saying through the broadcast a little bit there. We've got got JP Simshed in this year, a new team, of course. We've got Illusion, who have come stronger this year. They've come in with a lot of new guys. Middle Finger Racing are having a much better season as well. But Mitch Motorsport is still that team that is very much at the front, constant at the front thing. So it's going to be an interesting year for teams, I think. And it's good to see we've got such a different team mix-up as well. It's nice to see that sort of real competitive nature coming into the series.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I said, it's just everyone's just I think gotten better, and it just pushes everybody to drive harder and go faster, and that's, I think it's actually showing on the racetrack, and yeah, the races have been pretty close. Good stuff.
Very good to see. So, just before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Mitch Motorsports, BK Designs, I think, did the paint schemes. I love my paint scheme. I think they're awesome on the cars.
Yeah, they do look good.
That's about it. And you guys up in the broadcast booth, and yeah, I hope that was a good race. And,
Thanks,
yeah,
Danny.
good year.
You raced really well.
Yes, thanks, fellas.
You gave us a good race to call on. Thanks, Danny, and we'll catch you again up in the booth, I am sure, throughout the season.
No worries. Thank you.
Danny G there, Mitch Motorsports. So, again, second week in a row, we're going to grab Edward Foster up. So, third place man, Edward Foster for JP Simshed. Again, you know, good race for that team in their first season. They've got a win and a top 3 finish in the first 2 races. Edward Foster, Carl Withy here with Simshed Broadcasting. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate.
Good. Well, that's sort of second race in a row where we've got you up in the booth. That is a good start for the season, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a good start, actually. It's I was expecting a little bit of carnage tonight, but it was actually a really, really good race. So, yeah, managed to qualify out the front, which I was happy about because I really want to have to be working my way through the pack. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult to overtake with the aero package the way it is and so on, just depending on how sort of other people want to be. So glad to start at the front, run with that lead pack, not really ever fall out of it. And yeah, just really good racing up the front. Looked like it was really good racing at the back too.
Yeah, we had some great racing all across the field. A lot of it was brought on just with different strategies running, and that's something we wanted to just go over quickly with yourself. You obviously just stayed out that little bit longer on those tyres, just had that fresher tyre, and then similar to Matt Danson's strategy, obviously, and seemed to get you those positions towards the end, getting past the Illusion cars.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just one of those strategy calls, wasn't it? I think we're all still getting a little bit used to this new tyre and the way it wears and so on. So we're all just really sort of playing it by ear when we should drop down. So they decided to go quite early. I thought that was a little bit too early. I was running with Danson quite well. And then I started to just lose just a hair to him, and I thought, okay, well, now would be a good time to come down. Not jumping them by too much, that I'm going to wear my tyres out before I catch them and so on. So managed to come back, close them down, make some good moves. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, for you. One of the things that we did sort of notice was really around about lap 30, the tyres seemed to sort of drop off a bit of a cliff for you guys. It just looked like understeer started kicking in a lot, sort of after about 30, 35 laps on those tyres. And was that sort of the experience for you guys out there on the track?
Yeah, look, the tyres really depend on whether or not, number one, you're running in behind traffic or not, because you have to drive very differently when you're in behind traffic versus being out in clean air. So yeah, it's just a different technique. So the tyre life really did depend on where you were in the pack and how you treated them and how you just applied that. So yeah, it's something I'm still getting used to. So I can't profess to be an expert on it by any means.
Matt, any questions for Mr. Foster?
Well done, Ed. Great podium tonight for JP Simshed, and you raced beautifully all night. Just sat out of the trouble. If you had your time back, would you have stayed out a little bit longer with Matty Danson, or do you think you came in at the right time?
No, look, I think I came in at the right time. Really, got to remember that Danson may be able to run long and run the fuel tank all the way out, which is great. But keeping in mind how good he is at overtaking and threading his way through the field, it's not really such a big issue for him if he gets undercut by a whole bunch of people and then has to work his way back through, because he's very, very good at overtaking. I haven't got skill of cutting through the pack that he does, so I was conscious of not falling any further back than that.
Yep.
So no, look, I think for me that was pretty much bang on.
Yep. No, well done, mate. A great drive. You drove impeccably all night from my position. So well done on a podium.
Yeah, thank you very much. No podiums in NASCAR, unfortunately. Just getting interviewed in the pits, looking disappointed while the was off in victory lane. But of course, I'd like to thank all the guys that support us here at JP Sim Shed as well. Of course, Goodyear Auto Care, Warana, Jinx Shifters, Brizzy Racewear, Drive Sim, VR Covers. They're always really great to have on board. So I'm glad that we've managed to get this strong start to the season, and hopefully we can keep delivering for them.
Well, it's been a very good start so far for you guys. You've in the first 2 races, you've been in the top 3 in both of them, and winning one of them as well. So yeah, not bad for you guys. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see you up in the booth again as the season goes on. But thank you for giving us a very good race, and we'll catch you again, Mr. Foster.
Yeah, thanks very much. Catch you later.
Ed Foster there for JP Shed. And yeah, that was just a fantastic race. Like it was very much a strategy race, and really just a sort of, different strategies paying off. There was of course that carnage which did take out a lot of cars. I was just having a little bit of a look to see who was our sort of rookie of the night for of course the virtual motorsport mentor rookie of the night, sort of rookie of the year coming up for that one, and that would be Dylan Davies. He did a fantastic job finishing up in 16th. So 16th, yeah. So really fantastic job for him. So it's good to see the rookies sort of doing well this season as well. We're having some really good rookies up there, and the Virtual Motorsport Mentor Rookie of the Year award is going to be a bit of a hard prize to get, I think.
Oh, for sure. There's some great rookies out there, which is awesome to see, and another layer of things to watch out for as the races roll on. And looking forward to continuing the action next Thursday.
Yes, and we will be back next Thursday, and we will see you all again then. So from myself, Carl Withy, and from Matt Andrews, and of course JP on the directions in the cameras, it's a good night from us here at JP Sim Shed. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye-bye.